Rare. How glorious you used to be back in the day. And you're only just now starting out with this one right here. Well, maybe not so much as starting out per se, but this one would definitely go down in history for sure in your company. Anyways, hello everybody, and welcome to the next iteration of the Donkey Kong Marathon, and this is something that I'm sure a lot of you guys are looking forward to, and, you know, you're very well familiar with this one because this game is definitely legendary for sure. Oh yeah, Donkey Kong is back, baby. Well, except only this time it's a different incarnation of Donkey Kong. And, well, he's definitely in the groove for sure, and he's definitely ready for a new adventure. Welcome to Let's Play Donkey Kong Country for the Super Nintendo, released in 1994. Which, you know, ironically enough, is in the same year as the Game Boy Donkey Kong that I just did. But this is definitely a different one we're going to be doing here, and, you know, one of the more impactful ones. And so, as you can see here, this one is coming in 3 modes. We have 1 player, which I'm doing right now. We have 2-player contest and 2-player team. And so, we're going to go ahead and start this new adventure in the first world, Congo Jungle, and the first one is Jungle Hijinks. So, this is the very first level here, and go inside DK's treehouse here, and we have this red balloon that gives us an extra life, so that's cool. That's definitely a good start here. Alright, so let's go inside, and this here is Donkey Kong's Banana Hoard, but as you can see here, it's completely empty. There was supposed to be a pile of bananas here, but nope. It is empty, and Donkey Kong is sad about that. He is very sad and depressed over it. And why, pray tell, is it empty? Well, we all may ask. Well, that's because somebody stole Donkey Kong's Banana Hoard, and we had to get them back, and that's literally what the whole plot is. So anyways, so to kick things off right here, we have some new characters here. So we have Donkey Kong to start with. You know, he definitely has a new design that started with this game, and one that has pretty much become a mainstay, even though he has gotten a lot of different designs here. And then right with him is his little sidekick here. This here is Diddy Kong. And so to differentiate between both DK and Diddy, DK is much stronger. He's able to kill all the enemies just with one jump right here. You know, he's definitely stronger than the bunch. A little bit slower as well. You know, can't exactly jump as high. But you know, this Kong is one hell of a guy. Okay, well, even though it's just a different Kong there, it's gonna be a later Kong here. And then Diddy Kong right here, he's definitely a lot lighter on his feet. You know, he's faster, and he can also jump higher as well. He's a little weaker than DK himself, though, because, you know, he can't exactly kill certain enemies with one hit. And so, you know, therefore, to actually defeat them, he has to rely on, you know, just picking up the barrels, you can see here. And so, to go and talk about the enemies right here, we have the main enemy that is known as, you know, those crocodilian enemies. Those guys are called the Kremling Krew, and they're led by the evil King K. Rool. And so, basically, what their plan was that, well, they're the ones that stole Donkey Kong's Banana Hoards. You know, they're definitely the main culprits, so we had to go and stop them, and, you know, I guess, I don't know, probably eat those bananas and all that, though, but DK is having none of that, though, because they should not be allowed to eat them, so, yeah, we had to take his bananas back, and that's what we're here for. We are taking his bananas back, and that's just all there is to it here. And so, the other enemies go over, so, like, you know, because I do want to talk about the enemies, you know, so, those are basic enemies, the green ones, the green Kremlings, they're called critters, and remember, folks, all their names start with a K, so, you know, because they have to go for, you know, what would normally be, starting with a C, they always get replaced with K, because they're cool like that. And then the fat ones, they're called clumps, the ones that I actually come across, and, you know, that has the army attire. And then, and also those beaver enemies, they're called naughties. Yeah, they are very naughty indeed. And last but not least, those armadillo enemies are called armies. They roll forward, and of course, you know, they would actually just that's how they attack. Naughties, of course, they're definitely the beaver enemy. Well, they're definitely the Goombas in this one here. So, anyway, so to talk about the production or the development of Donkey Kong, so we have so basically, you know how it actually started with the Donkey Kong arcade, you know, actually started, well, Donkey Kong and Mario, well, back when he was called Jumpman. So, Mario would go and get his own kind of series, starting with Super Mario Brothers, you know, that's pretty much become a mainstay. And so, so basically, you know, with the success of Super Mario Brothers, a lot of people were wondering, what about Donkey Kong? Like, you know, we haven't actually heard much from him, well, aside from the Game Boy one. So, enter Rare, or at the time, you know, Rareware, back when they were called Ultimate Play the Game. And so, you know, and so, of course, they was called Rareware at the time. And so they did a little collab with Nintendo, and so, you know, they're actually interested and want to bring back Donkey Kong. And so that's how they started to develop Donkey Kong Country, and so that's how, you know, they went for something different, though. And, you know, they actually, you know, they decided to go have a, you know, get Donkey Kong his own kind of series, and so that's where that actually comes into play. So instead of, you know, just having, you know, Donkey Kong being portrayed as, you know, him terrorizing Italian plumbers. This one, well, it's a different incarnation, which of course I'll talk about in a second here. So first and foremost, let's go to Cranky's cabin and get verbally abused by him. So this here is Cranky Kong, and he is DK's grandfather or father, however you want to go for. What he does though is that aside from, you know, breaking the fourth wall, you know, just complaining about how about old-time games and, you know, how games are struggling nowadays, and also laying down some insults on his own grandson, no less. Yeah, I've never had any of this fancy 3D stuff. But he also does provide some hints or some advice on some certain games or, you know, some certain enemies or certain levels and all that here. So, you know, that's actually one thing. That's basically what he does, you know, just to give some advice. Fun fact, folks, to those of you who might not be aware, Cranky Kong was actually the original Donkey Kong from the arcade. The same one who would go and kidnap Pauline and terrorize Mario or Jumpman. And so now he's grown old, and he changed his name to Cranky Kong, and so now he's decided to retire and settle down on all that. And so I'm guessing that, you know, his own son, Donkey Kong Jr. would actually grow up and get married, and then would actually go and, you know, fuck each other, and then produce this current Donkey Kong that we currently know. And so he's definitely become a mainstay. Or, you know, the whole thing can be a little confusing, though. Actually, it just kind of goes, like, you know, some different ways as well. So yeah, that's probably what it is here. So. But yeah, that's a little piece of trivia right here. So yeah, that's actually what it is here. So they went for an entirely new incarnation of Donkey Kong, which is, you know, very much he's very much become the mainstay for the rest of this franchise, and also the Mario franchise as well, where, you know, he's definitely one of the most prominent characters. So, anyways, so yeah, back with how Rare was developing this game. So they actually want to create something unique, and, you know, something that, you know, that's very impressive for Super Nintendo standards. But as you can see here, visually, Donkey Kong Country is without a doubt one of the best looking Super Nintendo games, because, you know, the sprites themselves are 3D rendered, and, you know, they're just going through, like, you know, this whole 3D effect right here, and it's, you know, it really does knock it out of the park. And same thing with a lot of the other characters and the enemies right here. So they kind of had to relegate them to just some basic sprites, but they're basically, like, you know, 3D rendered sprites, and that's, you know, definitely impressive for the Super Nintendo's part. And also, visually speaking, I really do love how this game looks, because holy shit, you know, the background and all that, and you know the way the way the level designs are, like, oh my god, they're just impressive. You know, kudos to Rare for this. You know, just making this as impressive as you ever could for on the Super Nintendo. And also, can I just talk about the music? Oh man, I also love the music of Donkey Kong Country. The music is composed by David Wise, and he does such a damn good job as, you know, with making making the music very atmospheric and very ambient as well. And, you know, it really does knock out of the park. I gotta say that much though. So anyway, so that's a lot of the rambling that I have to do for you know, with the development and all that, you know, with Rare, and, you know, this would go on to become a success, you know, with you know, the bringing platforming to the next level and all that though. And, you know, you know, this game definitely is. It's such an amazing game. It really does go down in history, and it is definitely something I was very much looking forward to playing this game. And well, now I'm getting to play it here. So one thing I do want to mention is that I'm actually playing this game on the of course, once again, on the Nintendo Switch Online on the Super Nintendo app. And once again, I'm actually playing this on some nice CRT mode, just to bring back the whole 90s fashion right here. Oh yeah, and this level right here, so this is actually our first instance of a water level, so it's actually very basic though, you're just swimming through, so not much really going for it though. But I will say this though, oh god, listen to the music. Oh man, one of the best pieces of music there ever could be. Like I said, I was already saying how David Wise did such a good job with the ambience of the music, and this track right here, oh my god, it's so amazing. I love this track so much. The name of this is Aquatic Ambience, and oh god, every time I listen to it here, it's so soothing. That's well so for a water level. Oh, I love it. I love it. God, I'm sorry, folks. I'm just gushing over it too much here. It's because, you know, Donkey Kong Country really does have such a great soundtrack. It really does. So, anyway, so there's a lot more to talk about for the whole basics here. So to talk more about the characters, we also have the animal buddies here. That rhinoceros that we rode on, his name's Rambi, and so he's definitely one of the stronger ones, where you can actually just be able to just ran through the enemies. Well, you know, hence the name Rambi. But you know, he's very powerful. You know, you just be able to just tread through, and then, you know, just be able to attack enemies automatically just by running into them. And then this animal buddy right here, yeah, you'll be running into a lot of animal buddies here that you can actually just be able to ride on. This swordfish here is Ungard. Yeah, Ungard. And, you know, he can basically attack it, you know, just by pressing the X button on the Super Nintendo controller to use his sword nose to basically just, you know, impale his enemies here. And so, yeah, they're pretty cool like that, too. All right, so this next up right here, this is Funky's Flights. And this here is Funky Kong. And... basically, you know, he's definitely he's a super dude kind of Kong here. So, you know, he has his ability to surfboard, so he definitely does it cool. What he does here is that if you jump into his barrel airplane, you can actually be able to revisit some levels, some previous levels that you've already visited, and then just be able to replay them. So if you ever want to go back to, let's say, backtrack over to Jungle Hijinks, for instance, then you can be able to, you can actually be able to just, you know, get some extra lives and all that too if you ever want to grind for some lives. And yeah, that's basically all she wrote. And then next one is Barrel Canyon, and yeah, this is actually where you start to get used to controls for the barrel cannons here. So if you ever see these barrels are up in the air, if you go inside them, you can actually blast out of them just by pressing the B button. If you see the ones with the explosion kind of image right here on the barrels themselves, they're automated, so you actually just be able to go to the next barrel cannon over, but. Pretty much all of them are very much stationary for whichever one you go to next, so don't worry though, you won't really fall off. And let's see, what else is there to talk about? So yeah, to talk about the controls here, so basically, you know, the basic movement is just by using the D-pad, and then if you and of course the B button is to jump, and you press the A button, then you actually be able to switch between DK or Diddy. So if you ever want to be playing as a Diddy Kong, then you can just press the A button to switch over. Now, if the Lady Kong actually gets hit, as you just saw right here, then the other character will be switched over, and so the other Kong will be trapped in this barrel that shows a DK, this DK barrel. So all you gotta do is just pick it up just by holding the X button, and then just toss it over, and then that's how it releases the Kong from the barrel present. So that way there you can be able to have the Kong with you. And then, if you press the X button, then that's where you do the attack. So in DK's case, he does the forward roll, while Diddy will do the cartwheel attack. And so that's what you use to actually defeat some certain enemies as well. And so yeah, that's basically how it is for the controls. Now collectibles. So we have you know, some different collectibles here. The regular bananas, they're simply just like coins though. And we also have the banana bunches, which contain 5 bananas. If you get all 100 of the bananas, then you get an extra life. And of course, you know, this game does have a life system. If you actually see these red DK balloons, then those are basically extra lives as well. And then the other thing that you see are these Kong letters that you can see here with the G here. If you collect all 5 of them, just to spell a Kong, then you'll be able to you'll get an extra life as well. And the next up are the Animal Buddy tokens. If you collect all 3 of the same ones, then you'll be able to do their own kind of bonus stages. And then next up right here, this here is Candy Kong, and she's running a Candy save point. This is actually where you get to save your game. And Candy Kong here is, well, she's basically supposed to be DK's girlfriend. Or at least for what it's stated here. Alright, and so this one here is the boss stage. And so at the end of each level, you're going to be encountering a boss. And so in this case, we have Very Naughty, the boss of the naughties. And a lot of the bosses are pathetically easy, but sure enough, this guy is very naughty. All you gotta do is just, you know, keep jumping on him, and then each time you do so, then you get a giant banana with a Nintendo logo on it, no less. And there's actually one more thing I do want to talk about before I end out this video. Each of the stages, they have bonus rooms, and so if you go to those bonus rooms, you do these challenges, but you actually go through all the bonus stages themselves. An exclamation mark will appear right next to the name of the name of the stage itself, and that means you've completed the whole stage. And so, that by getting all the bonus levels. And so that's how you do 100% completion, which I'll talk more in the next video. So anyways, next time we'll go do Monkey Mine. So until then, I'll see you guys later.